and the peace-loving people of District Number 6, fellow citizens, one and all. I'm here today to, first of all, give God thanks for His bountiful blessings and all of what He has done and continues to do for us. A few years ago, roughly over 4 years, we were given the responsibility to come to the House to serve the people of District Number 6 and to serve the Republic of Liberia. While here, we took the time to observe and look at those things that will bring blessings, will change the life of our people. Today, I've put on the floor 5 bills that will be of great help to our nation, that will transform the life of our people, and that will help to make our people live a better life. Those bills today include the Liberian Great Gift Bill, Miss Ireland Student, Youth and Safety Bill, the Liberian Accountability and Decency Act, the Liberian Decent Health Care Bill, and the Liberian Children, Women and Children Equity Bill. The Liberian Great Gift Bill seeks to make sure that our government, this legislature, is able to take a loan of $200 million. Each county from that bill will get $5 million United States dollars. $1 million will go to create the first endowment in the history of Liberia for a county. Those endowments will be there for eons. In my absence, those endowments remain there. That means every year the interest from that will go to create development in those counties. $1 million will go towards creating housing development for each of this county. Those housing development, each of them will contain a healthcare center and an education center. The $3 million will go towards what we call agricultural development. We want each county to develop and design a crop that they will be able to produce. So if Nima is producing pepper, Grandjida is producing pineapple, Lofa is producing oil, so they will help each of our county have certain agricultural products that can create sustainability and can create independence for that county. We think food security is important. This is the best way to be able to do that for our country. We also see that within this bill, for each county we get 5 counties will get $5 million each. Those million will go toward creating mini factories that will be used to create jobs for our people. Before we used to have chicken soup factory. We used to have different factories in our country, the shoe factory. Many people now, they try to fix shoes on the sidewalk. We think if we can create a mini factory, it will help to create jobs. Those mini factories will help our people to be independent. It will help our young people get off the street and develop the skills. In this bill, we are saying that $25 million should be used to create the first National Football Academy. Our goal is to produce 50 of George Weah that will help create jobs, that will help expose our country and help change our country. That is a great gift bill. It is a great gift bill because we want to give back to our country. A lot of people say Liberia is an elephant meat. When people cut from this meat, we think it is time we give back to our country. The next bill we have Miss Ireland bill. Miss Ireland was the first student in this country who was shot and killed on her school campus. During that investigation, it was discovered that the kid took the gun from home. This bill requires every parent who has a gun, though you know you're not supposed to have a gun, you must keep those guns on a lock and seal. If you do not keep this gun on a lock and seal, and your child have access to it and kill someone, you must be liable. You must be held culpable for the action of what happened to that child. We also say in that bill that every young people who travel the street, the police should be given the authority to search your book bags. In New York City, it calls search. Our young people now, they carry scissors on their side. They stick each other with it when they are ready to fight. A lot of people have died in my district. More than 5 persons have died because someone juked them with scissors. We are saying that every school building, there should be no drugs around a school building, 300 miles radius. Like it is done internationally. Every school that have 3 miles radius, there should be no drug sale around there. We're saying that anyone who is caught with drugs, anyone who is caught selling drugs to a minor or to people, that person should go to jail, and the due process should take its course. They must remain in jail until that time has come to elapse. The next bill is the Liberian Accountability and Decency Act. In our country, we found that in this world, before someone knows you, they go to check on Facebook. Your name, your character, where you're from. They form their opinion about those things they see on Facebook. They find out who you are before they even get to you. What we are saying, if you say John Brown molested 10 children and you put it on Facebook and you take false pictures and put them there, and John Brown become a public ridicule, John Brown starts to be laughed at, he loses his job. You take a woman naked picture and put it on Facebook unknowing to her. This bill is saying you should be held liable. You should go to jail. You should be sued for writing false things about people. Yes, other people will say it is the freedom of speech. Well, you have the freedom to say what you want to say, but I don't think you have the freedom to threaten people's life. I don't think you have the freedom to create chaos in our country. There's so much chaos based on the lies that people write on Facebook. And I think that people are being held accountable. They will be very careful in what they will write. They'll be very careful in what they will say. Want to breed a society of accountability. Want to breed a society of people who will be truthful to our nation and truthful to themselves. The Liberian Decent Healthcare Bill stands to let people know that we must treat ourselves decently. We must treat each other decently. It says it takes a village to raise a child. And I think a decent society requires telling truth and stop telling lies about other people. The next bill we have here is the Liberian Decent Health Care Bill. In this country, when you are in an emergency state and you go to a hospital, they are going to tell you you must pay before you be treated. A woman went to a hospital during the Ebola time. Because she couldn't afford the money, she had to walk out and she gave birth in the middle of the street. Now, what kind of country are we? What kind of nation are we as people? If our women will be giving birth on the street because they didn't have money. What kind of people are we? What kind of Christians are we if such a thing happened? This bill states that if you are sick to the point of death and go to a hospital, you should be treated and then later on you can pay that bill. A dead man cannot pay a bill, but a man who's alive will be able to pay this bill. I will give you an example. An old man was sick in my district and they called me 9 o'clock in the morning to say he was ill, he was at a hospital. I didn't get the call. Around 3 o'clock when I checked my time while in the Capitol building in session, I saw the call. I ran to the hospital. I met this old man sitting outside of the house. He had burned himself in the morning in a fire in the house. I was able to pay $45 to have him register in the hospital. Unfortunately, 45 minutes later, he died. If that old man had been treated before and later on that money was going to be paid, I think a dead man doesn't have it. I think our people struggle so much so that in their poorness, at the time when they need us most, at the time when they are most vulnerable, let us treat them. A pregnant woman who is about to give birth, her husband is at work, her husband is not around. I think bring that baby to life. There's 2 lives. And I think if we deny them, we are denying it. A decent family, a decent society will not do that. A lady walked into my office and said to me, "This is my son. His father and I had him when he was in Liberia. But his father went to the States and he left me here. Both of us built a house, but we did not get married. Well, after the man died, his wife he had in the States came to Liberia and claimed the property. And she was right because this woman and the man was not married. Most of our people used to buy land and only put their name on it. They don't put their wife's name on it. And that lady lose the house. And the lady said to me, "I'm dead. This is all I have." The man left me and went. Only because he did not legitimize the child. This bill is saying if you take up your trousers and sleep with a woman and it's proven that that baby is yours, you don't have to legitimize the child before the child have a right to your property. Let's go back to see why this bill was put in place before. Why this law was passed that you must legitimize the child. Those who passed the law, they brought our girls, our mothers from the interior. They had them as their wives and they had kids by them. Their kids were sent to the States, and those kids, they used to call them bastards, was stay here, was left in Liberia to languish. They had no access to their property. They had no access to their wealth. And at the end of the day, they died poor and they became nuisance in our society. We are saying in this bill, we want to protect our mothers, we want to protect our future. And so if you have a child, and that child is a child, you don't have to go to court to prove or to go to the court to legitimize a child before the child have access to your property. We want to say that any child that you born and that is a child, is established as a child, that child should have all rights to what you have as a Liberian. So second portion, and conclusively, the Lebanese come to our country, the Chinese come to our country. We welcome them because we are an open nation. They have right to stay here. I will give you an example. An Indian man comes and have an affair with a Liberian woman. That man was here for only 2 months. That Liberian woman gets pregnant, and the man go back to his country. Maybe the first week she got pregnant, she didn't know until he traveled. That lady keep the pregnancy, responsible for that child, did everything, paid the hospital bill until the child come to life. Once she gave birth to that child, she alone struggled through alone, all alone. She never sees that man again. In the eyes of our law and in the eyes of our place, that child is a foreigner. Though that child was carried by a Liberian woman for 9 months, though that man who pregnanted a woman left the country, but because of his absence and because of the fact that that child had mixed race, that child becomes a foreigner. That child is not allowed any right in the Republic of Liberia. That child does not have a passport in the Republic of Liberia. That child, when they reach 23 years old, they have to come up with 3,000. So we call them mulattoes. They are all over the place. They have no passports. They walk around. They go in the courts. They are treated like aliens. When their fathers, I consider them, they are fatherless. Their mothers alone, who are Liberians, struggle. This bill says that everyone who finds themselves in that position must be given full status because their parents, their mother are Liberian. Must be given full status. They were born here. They know no other country. They play allegiance to no country but the state of Liberia. It is my fervent hope that those who work alongside me, all of the lawmakers, will see the need to advocate so that our people have decent health care bills, so that our people are able to find jobs in the country. And we talk about job creation. This will help us to create jobs in the various counties. Lastly, on this list, it states that every government agency must be able to use made in Liberia furniture in their offices. We think if those offices are allowed to use those things, it brings income generation. And finally, I want to repeat myself. Soccer in this world is a great motivational sports. It's a sport that brings people together. It has a lot of money. And I think if the government can just build the first national football academy, where our young people will go, sleep football, dream football, walk football, we'll see the income, we'll see the dividends. And football will make Liberia great, as we have made great leaders that come to football. Thank you very much. I will take any question if you may have, and I pray that God will bless us and these bills will be passed in the interest of our people and the great people of District Number 6. Thank you.
That was the voice of Honorable Reynolds, the representative of District 6. We have 2 print media here present and 7 electronic media. So the 2 can ask questions and we'll take 2 from the, so that 4 questions will take.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
Please
so
call
my name is
your
Springs, and I come from Pram FM. I have 2 concerns. The first has to do with the gift, the
Great gift bill.
It's a good thing, you know, soliciting funds for the government and the country. But my thing is, I mean, corruption has been entrenched in Liberia. How does the bill seek to protect the fund? Because even government budget can be passed and then allocated to land management agency and misappropriated. So, I mean, how does the bill seek to protect the money that the legislature will credit or take up the loan, the law because will take? The second one has to do with the Miss Ireland bill. Now that it's not a secret, students go on campuses with drugs, with machetes, with weapons. And when you find out, school administrators will tell you that we are not protected. When we venture around some of them, they will even stop us. So it brought down insecurity. Do you think, even if the bill is passed, where the national security is not equipped, merely the police, to curtail those crimes, do you think it will make any impact? I'll
start with the last one. At the African Dream Academy, it has 0 tolerance for any kind of weapons. No student. I have 2,200 students. No one is allowed to carry a single weapon on that campus. If I can do it, I think any school can do it. You must take all of this into consideration. The lives of our people cannot be compromised. The lives of our students cannot be compromised. There's a place where the young people go to school. And I think every school administration must be able to deter these things from happening on our campuses. Yes, accidents do happen, but what is needed is for us to count the cost, is to be meticulous in what we do, be very much proactive. Do not allow this to happen. So I think a school administration will put in place mechanism that would check every student. This morning at my school campus, we checked before I came to Capitol Building. We checked. There was a student carrying to class something called 69. It was in his bag. We took that from his bag. There were other people carrying pepper spray. We took that from their bag. And those people, they'll be dealt with. So next time it will serve as deterrence. So we think we can solve this if we work together as parents and students for the safety of our students and our country. In terms of the corruption, you can say because of corruption, so you will not pass any other budget. You'll pass this budget. But I think that the difference in this money is that once the money goes to the county, it must be managed by the county. There must be counties sitting. Citizens must be involved. You have to start from somewhere. We don't think that everything is going to be clean, but I think if the citizens themselves get involved, one person cannot go and withdraw money from that account. But if you have the citizens involved, people who are watching, and those who talk will say, oh, Liberia is corrupt. Liberia will never change. I have a hope that my country will change. I have a hope that there are good people in Liberia. I have a hope that Liberians can have something better for them. And so if you educate our people first, you don't just take money and give it to them. You educate them first on the importance of having their own endowment. You educate them on the importance of buying a stake from that county, on the importance of employing those who will build this building. So I think we will be able to set up accountability from our communities, from our counties. It should be a general decision, not a decision of one or two group of people to decide how that money is spent. Those are some of the ideas to be able to curtail corruption and have accountability. And I think we can have a PPCC process from the community level to be able to vet and see what's happening. Yes, sir.
My name is Ogoku Yega. I work for ELBC. Probably you care to distinguish the similarities in some of your legislations you put forth. There are a couple of laws already that are similar to what you're talking about. How do we distinguish? For instance, the Liberianization policy talks about how Liberians will kind of promote the locally made materials. You spoke about the health protocol to be amended. There's already an existing law. You talk about the Security Act. There's already a security legislation in the country. How can we distinguish between what you're pushing and the current law?
I don't know of any law that states that no student should walk around with Mercedes on the side. If you can show me that law, I'm willing to work with you. I don't know of any law that states that if a person goes to a hospital and they are dying, you must treat them before they die. I don't know of any law that exists. If you know of one, you let me know and we can correct
The
that.
health protocol dictates that.
The health protocol dictates what?
That preservation of life.
But you got to be clear. Preservation of life means when someone is sick, they must pay and you preserve their life. I am saying directly, unequivocally, that if a woman comes to your clinic and she's in pain, that's an emergency because life is involved. Treat her before you ask for money later. That's also preserving. But that's not what is talked about in the previous bill. My bill is clear to a point. It is not, I don't think it's a duplicate. I'm not saying this. So if you know of any bill that clearly states that if you go to a hospital and you are dying, they must treat you without pay, then you can let me know, we can make that adjustment.
As time to be corrected, what's about the dual citizenship bill?
The dual citizenship
That's
bill,
covering it before the body.
what that has to do with health, has to do with someone paying before they be treated.
No. My argument here is, on one of your legislators, you talk about a foreigner in an affair with a Liberian.
What I'm talking about here is Mantewa, who live in Lufa County, and Mr. Tappe from wherever goes to Lufa County and have a relationship, 2 nights, 3 weeks, goes back to his country. He gone. He gone. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Mantewa, who she alone bore that pregnancy from the first trimester. 9 months she had a baby in her. Where was this man? Where was he? We're concerned because this man is going to come back and take his child, but he didn't come. And this child is now 15 years old. He walks among us. He's a foreigner. What makes him a foreigner? What makes him a foreigner? Was it because his father was a white man? if we're going to focus on his father alone, what about his mother, who is a black woman, who's a Liberian, who breastfed him, who took care of him, and this man who never come back to Liberia at all? That is a different thing from a dual citizenship bill.
Just a minute, you're coming. I don't know what do we say, how you will respond to this. What I see is as a political instrument, perhaps. When we argue what have representative done. I'm reading some of the comments on the live. According to you, 4 hitting 5 to come over this. I don't know how sincere is the district's lawmaker over this. We are good at passing law.
Yeah, and so we are good at criticizing anything. So anything good that comes to you, all you're fit for is to criticize. Whether it's good for you or not, you must criticize it. People will say what they have to do. I will do what is right to do. If I pass a healthcare bill that's going to save life, you want to be political about it? If I pass a healthcare bill that will create jobs, you want to be political about it? You be political because that's all you know to do. I run a school. I do work in my district. I come to work every day. What have you done? Sit on a computer and write and say this person is political? I believe in actions. I was here for 5 years. I've been here for 5 years. And people say, you won't pass a bill. 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 You pass a bill and they say political. What is political? Let's talk more. People have their opinion. I respect those who say it's political. I respect those who question my authenticity. I'm an independent candidate. I've been consistent in what I do. So if you want to say I'm being political by forcing a bill, you would have said what if I had not put up a bill? What have you done? Show me what you have done when you criticize. You have a right to criticize, and I respect your criticism. But I know myself. I know who I am. I know what I believe. I took my time. I did my research. I didn't just write bill in 1 week time because I wanted. From day one, if you check the radio stations, I've said it from the beginning that I was going to do this bill. From the first year I came into office. From the first year I came into office, and we started working on these bills. So people would say what they want to say. And people question everything that happens in Liberia. I was on a plane coming to Liberia, and I heard nothing good. When I got to Brussels, all the people from Brussels, they respected their home. When I got to Sierra Leone, they respected the little airport. They appreciated the government official. They were happy for the development. When we got the Liberians started coming, they criticized the plane, they criticized the air hostesses, they criticized the stairs that they were coming down to, they criticized the hall they went in. But I paid $200 US at the airport in the States for my test. When they came here, they complained about paying $75 for that very same test that you paid $200 for. So what is it? What wouldn't they complain about? They complain about the fact that I have a school of 2,200 students. They complain about that. What do you want me to do? You complain about the clinic that I run, that provide free service since before I became a representative. What do you say? Should I listen to them? No, my brother. I cannot listen to the noise. I will do what is right. 18,000 persons voted for me for a reason. They didn't vote so that I listen to everybody, criticize. They have a right. And I appreciate criticism. Makes me strong. So those who criticize him, thank you so much. Keep doing it. I'll read it, and I will learn from there and move on.
My name is Gerald Coordinator. I write for Front Page Africa newspaper.
Yes, sir.
Several bills you already introduced talk about apportioning money to support scholarships, to support education, to support sports. We have a budget that is less. Most of the things now it doesn't reach 500 million, half a billion. So this bill you talk about, did they outline how would be the source of funding? How would we raise this money to support these projects?
Thank you. So when you look at the Great Gift Bill, when Ebola came, we took a huge loan. Where is that money today? When Corona came, we took a huge loan. Where is that money today? People complain that there's no job in the country. There's no idea to create a job. People complain that our materials are sent out, but there's no way. And so what I'm saying on this bill is we'll take a loan in the tune of 200 million. If you look at this government just this year, the amount of loans that we have taken, they are huge. And those loans, they went to different purposes. I am saying Nima County deserve housing complex. I'm saying Bon County deserve it. I am saying Bapulu deserve it. All the counties deserve it. And the best way you can do it, you apportion it. I'm saying people complain that there's no development money around. So create an endowment. In America, every little school create an endowment. From that endowment, you grow it from there. I'm also saying that football brings in a lot of money. It's an investment that we are going to make. It's an investment that will bring in return. Those investments will bring good return from all of us. They will help us. We talk about food. Can you imagine like bro buy pepper from outside the country? So if you get Nima County $3 million for agriculture, can you tell me how much pepper seed is $1 million pepper seed? So you take $1 million and buy pepper seed, and you have a huge portion you plant pepper. So you put moratorium that you're not importing pepper from Ivory Coast, from Guinea. So you start to feed yourself. You start to create value for the pepper. You do the same thing with the pineapple. You do the same thing with the oil. You do the same thing that we come to a place where we no longer beat pounder, where everything is processed and placed in the cup. That is why the 25 million will go to build our food processing plant. And that's something that will bring in income, because we buy and import everything in this country. I think it takes idea to change Liberia. It will take the idea to change Liberia. Anyone who come and say, I can lead this nation and I can bring money to change this country, you are lying. It must be total involvement, as Talbot said. We must raise ourselves to higher heights, and all of us must be involved. And the best way we can be involved is to do these little projects that will help us.
Sir, just to follow up to this question, you hit the nail on the head. It's just a very important point. Yes, that you are questioning the whereabouts of monies collected or asked for during the Ebola time, coronavirus, whatever. But yet and still, you are creating an avenue to borrow more money. How can you compromise?
I think there are some questions.
And you have a responsibility.
I think there are some questions people ask because they have to ask questions. And I think there are hesitation on many people's parts. When I was coming to build the African Dream Academy, I went to the Brick Presbyterian Church in New York City. And they said to me that many Africans have went through New York City. They talk about building schools, but they've never seen those schools. Some of the schools go nowhere. Today, those people came, and one of the presidents who speak on my graduation, he said, trust is what lacking. And I want you to trust yourself. I want you to trust that there are Liberians in this country who can make the difference. I want you to trust that we can change our nation, or we can sit and wallow in our blaming of Joseph Jenkins Roberts, the Totman, the Taylor, and everyone, and live in utter frustration. But I think with the Liberians that I know, something good can happen.
All right, thank you very much, distinguished colleague, member of the Fourth Estate. Thank you very much for your time, and we appreciate. We are great partner in progress. And for the record, the honorable, this is not just the first bill. The honorable has passed another bill that is before the president for Senator Mabel Martin. The college now has been turned to a university because of the bill he put on the floor at the 54th National Legislature to set a record straight. This is not the first time.